Remember last year's amazing trip? That cute first birthday party? All those photos, all those memories can be freed from your phone with a Shutterfly photo book. Rediscover and share your favorite moments with those you love. You'll be amazed how easy it is to make a photo book with Shutterfly and enjoy it for years to come. Get 40% off orders over $29 with code POD40 at Shutterfly.com and make something that means something.
Have I Got News for You is back for another season. Roy Wood Jr., Amber Ruffin, and Michael Ian Black are finding the funny in the week's biggest stories. Have I Got News for You, Saturday at 9 on CNN, and stream next day on Max.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. Confession: How to Not Ruin Your Relationship by Dr. Diana Kirschner of loveinninetydays.com. Here's one way not to ruin your relationship. This one piece of valuable advice is about how to not ruin your relationship. I have a confession to make. I almost ruined my relationship with my husband, Sam. Not because I wasn't sure if I loved him anymore. It was because of my habit to make everything about me. Let me explain further. When he was busy with a project at work, I had thoughts like, he must not care about me anymore. When he seemed distant, I would say to myself, he's barely paid attention to me all day. How dare he? And when he forgot to pick up the dry cleaning, I would think, what does he think? I'm supposed to do everything? Something tells me you can relate. How to ruin your relationship. Self-centeredness. My worst habit that tended to sabotage our love was my own tendency to think from a self-centered universe. And most of my paranoia was a recreation of the traumas I had experienced as an unwanted little girl, growing up in an alcoholic family. If my husband was distant, I would think he doesn't care about me, or I am invisible, or one of my self-sabotaging gloom and doom favorites, I'm just not attractive anymore. It was always about me, especially when my husband and I argued or misunderstood each other. But when I got my head out of my ego and noticed him, what was really going on with him, it was a very different story. He was really worried about money, or struggling with getting older, or afraid he was losing his edge, or worrying about business challenges. It was actually about him. I was shocked. Luckily, I now catch myself when I start to go down the tunnel of making things about me. I catch myself. But in the early days of our marriage, we struggled a lot. What really got me out of my little me box and turned things around for us was learning to listen without judgment. In fact, there's one exercise that helped us more than anything else. I've seen turbulent marriages come back from the brink of disaster using only this listening exercise. The 10-minute miracle session. When we started to drift apart early in our marriage, Sam and I committed to schedule and practice a formal 10-minute miracle session with each other every other day. In these sessions, one of us talked freely about whatever came to mind, while the other simply listened with full attention. The listener did not speak, no matter what. Then it was the listener's turn to speak. We used a clock and honored a full 10-minute session for each of us. Anything that was said in that time was sacred and could not be brought up during an argument. After more than 25 years together, Sam and I still regularly use these 10-minute miracle sessions to get to know each other all over again. The practice has kept our relationship fresh, alive, and healthy. The rules of the 10-minute miracle session. If you and your partner have been trying to ruin your relationship with coldness or fighting, I highly recommend you try to incorporate this practice into your daily lives. If you're in a new relationship, this will also help build a stronger foundation. Here are the rules that make this work in a powerful way. One person gets to talk, free associate, or say whatever is on his or her mind, while the other simply listens with complete and full attention. The listener does not speak. The listener acts like a good therapist, who is present and listening from a non-judgmental state. If the talker has a silent period, she or he should just say, "Nothing is coming to mind." Both of you then sit in silence until any other thought comes up. And believe me, it will. No matter what, use a clock or stopwatch and honor the full 10-minute session, as if you were paying a therapist for his or her time. At first, it's best to avoid complaining about the relationship itself in these sessions. Instead, listen to what's on your partner's mind in order to really get to know each other. Avoid crosstalk and debate. After the two of you get used to having the listening sessions, you can try adding comments about the relationship or your partner. At that point, any complaint about the partner should be turned into a need and not an accusation, and phrased in the third person. This makes it less threatening. For example, you might say, "I feel sad because my husband/boyfriend works a lot, and I really need him to tell me he loves me." Or, "I would love to make love more often with my wife. It makes me feel so close to her." When the speaker's time is over, switch roles and let the person who's been listening have his or her 10 minutes to talk. Do not use this time to comment on your partner's 10 minutes and turn this opportunity into a debate. That will also ruin your relationship. This time is not for a right or wrong session. It is a special time designed to allow partners to share their thoughts and feelings. As they say in 12-step programs, avoid crosstalk. Crosstalk will kill the miracle. The bottom line rule: anything that a partner says during the miracle session is sacred. Don't bring it up during an argument. Whether you're seriously dating and have hit a downtick, or you've been married for 20 years and it's going down the tubes, practice the miracle sessions. That is, if you don't want to ruin your relationship by being disconnected from each other. As I said earlier, I have used this in my own personal lab, my marriage, and it has allowed my husband and me to weather family upsets, disappointments, setbacks, losses, and other assorted challenges that are an inevitable part of living a life together. If your partner doesn't want to reciprocate yet, you can start by quietly doing the deep listening. You just listened to the post titled, "Confession: How Not to Ruin Your Relationship," by Dr. Diana Kirschner of loveinninetydays.com.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, "Hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby," and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
You found your person. Now let the Knot help you with everything else. The Knot connects you to the wedding inspo, vendors, venues, and planning tools you need to make your day totally you. Having helped plan 25 million weddings, we've got your back when it comes to every little detail like RSVPs, budgets, and more. Because your wedding comes to life with the connections that matter the most. Get started at theknot.com/audio. The Knot. Let's plan your wedding together.
And thanks a lot to Dr. Diana. What an exercise this is. I would definitely highlight her note about not turning this into a debate. This is absolutely a free space that she has suggested you develop with your partner and not an opportunity to capitalize on having the last word, however appetizing it may be. It's likely inevitable that something disclosed will need to be discussed further at some point. And should this be the case, I would recommend bringing up the need to talk more about something you heard with the same gentleness that the 10-minute miracle session provided. Okay? The topic was brought up in confidence and with vulnerability, so that vulnerability must be tended to when asking to talk further about it. Addressing it with anger or fury really delegitimizes the 10-minute miracle session, and that is the last thing you want, as it definitely stands to be an amazing long-term practice with your partner. You can also set a rule on this from the beginning. If you do want to start doing this exercise with your partner, just come to an agreement from the get-go about how to further address certain subjects that it brings out if you need to. Okay, everyone, that's it for me today. Thanks a lot for listening. I really enjoyed this article and the idea that came with it. I hope you did too. It definitely seems widely applicable. So, have a great rest of your day, folks, and do join me again tomorrow as we start the parenting leg of the week. That's where your optimal life awaits.